Somebody who's not getting a whole lot of love from Sasco is the Wits Vuvuzela team. And in studio, I've got Rof as well as Thabile. Hello, ladies.
Hey, hello.
How are you guys?
Good, thank you. How are you?
All good, man. We'll get straight into it. For the record, I did extend an invitation to Sasco. Timby so did agree to come through, but he hasn't. We'll give him time. He's not here yet. I tried calling him, his phone is off. So yeah, I don't want people saying, yeah, VOWFM is just giving Vuvuzela a platform to say what they want to say. We invited both parties because Sasco was not happy with the article you wrote.
Not at all.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys by now you are aware of that, yeah? The article, now the headline is vet students known as a Sisulu finally admits to lying. Before we get into it, I like the fact that you did acknowledge the one mistake, so to put it, that you made, where you, at the beginning of the article, you say correction. The original article initially said that Mcebo Sisulu claimed to be the love child of Zwelakhe Sisulu and the sister of Swaziland's King Zwelithini, when it should have said Swazi Princess. Wits Vuvuzela regrets the error, which has been corrected. That's out the way. We're done with that.
Right.
The story. Cool. Where did it all begin with Mcebo?
Okay, so the story began on the 7th of May.
Yeah.
It was election day, as is popularly known.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do a story on Mcebo Sisulu, and I wanted to angle it from the perspective that he is from this great political dynasty.
Yeah.
And as someone who is from such an influential family, how has coming out of that family influenced his love for politics and social change, as is popularly known, and as he is very vocal about his love for politics.
Yeah.
And we did conduct the interview, and he shared with me personal experiences about growing up in the Sisulu family, although he was a little bit reluctant. And then wrote the story.
What made you think he's reluctant?
Because when I asked him to speak about his family, he was very apprehensive, very wishy-washy. But I mean, I kept angling my questions in that direction because that is what I wanted to get at. I mean, I could have written any other election story, but the main thing that was special about him was that he's a Sisulu, as is popularly known. Yeah. You know, so that was the juice of the story.
So he's a Sisulu, but as you talk to him, he's a bit wishy-washy. He's not giving you...
He's a bit wishy-washy. He's
Did
not
that make
forthcoming.
I mean, I remember after Thabile drafted her story, our editor had worried about a couple of inconsistencies in his story in terms of who exactly his father was, his educational background, which seemed too good to be true. Yeah. So I happened to bump into him on the day of elections, and I asked him, look, you need to be straight. Who's your dad? And he was reluctant, as Thabi said as well. And he then said, you know, he's the love child of Zwelakhe Sisulu, you know. Yeah. And he was born in Mozambique and grew up in Tanzania. Yeah. And we got back to the office and we said, wait a minute. He said he grew up in Orlando West.
Where did you first get the information that he grew up in Orlando?
He told us
from my original interview, because he cited very personal experiences about growing up with Albertina and Walter Sisulu. And, you know, at that moment, there's nothing going off in my head because this is exactly what I'm looking for. But in writing the story, I need to have a proper chronological order or family lineage as to why he's really a Sisulu. So you are a grandson who is then the father or the mother that then links you to these famous political parents. Right. And I mean, after a quick web search that we did, we couldn't find him on record with any of the Sisulu children. He was not Max Sisulu's son, as according to our web searches. He definitely was not Zwelakhe's son. So I mean, it was like, okay, we can print this original story about election day and this and about Mcebo being a Sisulu, but on our part as journalists, if we can see the inconsistencies, then I mean it's a flawed, it's flawed integrity for our career to be publishing something we are not 100% sure of, and that's what opened the floodgates to
everything that we discovered and what we read in the
So you guys have the story on Mcebo, who claims to be a Sisulu. You guys can see that his story has a lot of loopholes. What other steps did you take to confirm that, you know what, this guy is not actually who he's saying he is? Did you guys contact the Sisulus directly? Did you guys contact anybody who's got any connection with the Sisulus?
You know the thing with journalists, we're not allowed to discuss our sources.
No, look, I'm not saying give me names. All I'm saying is talk to people who gave you that information.
What I will say is we had a chance encounter with Mcebo Sisulu, who told us, straight out, he didn't flinch or anything, that look, I've never heard of Mcebo, and Zwelakhe didn't have any love children. And if you know, Zwelakhe is Maxwell's brother.
Yeah.
Other sources were close to the family confirmed, similar things.
Yes.
So,
I found a source that was close to the family and spoke to Zwelakhe's wife, who said, you know what, I don't know of Mcebo, but the kind of family that we are as a Sisulu is that if there is a child by that name or however the child came to be, we will accept that child, you know. And there was just no, there was no acknowledgement, no validation, nothing that cemented that he actually is a Sisulu from people who should know him.
Okay,
by way of,
that's one side of the Sisulus. You guys, in your article, you say you spoke to people close to Mcebo, and after asking them about his claims, each person responded by saying he is a Sisulu. At that point, you might be at a stalemate. You know, the Sisulas are saying we don't know him. Guys that have known him for so long are also claiming that he's a Sisulu. I mean, it's one thing for me to lie to you, but when other people around me are supporting that, you know, what then after that?
I don't know. It goes back to the investigation. We weren't going to take the word of his friends. Yeah. If you know Mcebo, if you've ever met him, and Thabile can agree to this as well, he's a very charismatic person and he'll make you believe anything he says.
Very eccentric.
Yeah. That's why in our investigation, we thought to give him an opportunity to sit us down and discuss everything. We gave him an opportunity, exactly,
to be precise,
more than once, to kind of come forward and say what he needs to say before we go out and publish what we had to publish. Obviously he denied those, and Thabile will explain some of the events that happened subsequent to him denying was he kind of invaded Thabile's private space, and
because we gave him the opportunity, and each time we wanted to make it clear that you can come to us and be honest, because if really you are a love child, then we have no leg to stand on. You know, we are not trying to tarnish a very good political name. We are not trying to defame you, because there really is no point then to us doing that. And he really would not confirm anything, and that led to him later coming to my place at a very inconvenient hour. And he said, you know what, you need to drop the story because there will be repercussions.
You know? He's threatening you.
He threatened, and I'm so glad she gave me a call.
He did not say the word threaten, but for all intents and purposes, it was a threat, you know? And he offered us leads to other stories for us to drop the story. Because,
there was clearly something there. And I think for any journalist, when someone is going to say to you, look, I'll give you something really big if you drop this, you want to know what it is that he's hiding. Which is exactly what we did. And I think eventually he got to a point where he was stuck between a rock and a hard place. And we need to clarify that he called for the final interview where he admitted that he lied.
Okay.
And in the final interview, he asked, specifically, Mcebo asked that this interview be on the record. He said, bring your recorder and I will bring mine. We are settling this once and for all because I'm tired of being harassed.
And he let it out.
So you both confirm that he said it.
He said it
himself, that
it is
I'm
on the
not
record.
a Sisulu.
He said it.
And
you've
got audio of this.
We've got all the evidence. And another thing is that our story, it goes through a whole bunch of sub-editing. So we have various structures within the department that go through the story and do it thoroughly. Make sure we're not defaming people unnecessarily. Make sure that our facts are correct, you know. Just make sure that the ethics involved with writing a story of this nature are in check. And that's exactly what we did. And that's what I think people that have gone to comment and say the things that they've said are forgetting. We don't just write
what you just want.
Exactly.
It's important to validate that we have a professor of ethics who's the press ombudsman. He gave us the heads up and he said, this is a story worth telling. A lot of people are saying, but who is Mcebo? He's not anyone of significance. He is. He's a student leader. It's because SASCO is writing this letters. It is because the EFF is writing these letters.
That's why the ARC
that
wrote a letter.
We absolutely have to tell this story. Because if it was not important, then this reaction would not have happened. So, if we can equate the feelings out of this and we can
look at the
facts, because none of them are disputing the facts. No one here is saying he is lying. We acknowledge this is the truth. The truth will be the truth yesterday, as it will be today, as it will be in the next 2 months.
Exactly.
It is regardless when the story came out. No one is disputing the facts, just when it came out and how it came out, which is completely inconsequential when you think about the fact as it is.
Exactly.
He is not a Sisulu.
I think
he misrepresented himself. He lied. We reported the truth. How it is received, it is not
and
a
the timing as well. It's got nothing to do with the timing. If a story is there, we don't put it off to say, look, let's just give him some leeway until he's in a better space in his life, you know.
If it's there now, you
exactly,
go with it now.
Exactly, you know.
What's in the name? That's what we're talking about in the Samsung Left Club today. We've got two journalists here from Wits Vuvuzela who wrote a story on a student leader, if I could call him that, Mcebo Sisulu / Dlamini. And we'll be taking your questions on Voice of Wits on Twitter at VOWFM, VOWFM, Voice of Wits in brackets on Facebook. What's in a name? Vet students known as a Sisulu finally admits to lying was a headline on Vuvuzela. Would you have a problem with this kind of headline if the article is 100% factual? I'll be taking your questions after music from DJ Capital. The ladies will still be in studio. I have to repeat this. I did extend an invitation to SASCO to come in so that we could discuss their response to this article. Tembiso did agree, who's the branch secretary here at Wits University. Tembiso agreed to come through, but he's not here. His phone is still off. I'll keep trying calling him. His name is Tembiso Mpunyan, who's the branch secretary for SASCO Wits University. He said he'll come through. He's not here. We'll give him until 4:30 to see if he gets here. It's a proudly local jam on your number one campus station. We're still talking about what's in a name. This is DJ Capital Keyez with Amatele. Amatele, what she wants to hear. This song basically says that, you know. Mcebo Sisulu / Dlamini has been telling people what they want to hear. That his name is a Sisulu. At least that's according to Wits Vuvuzela, article written by two ladies who are in studio with me. Now, a bit earlier when we spoke about where your article comes from and how you investigated and all of that, we're going to give SASCO a bit of airtime for them to voice their opinion because Nompendulo Mkaja has been tweeting, who's the chairperson of SASCO Wits University. Her guy could not make it, but Nompendulo is on the line to join us. Nompendulo, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Great stuff, man. I've been seeing some of your tweets and I did share the tweets with the ladies and I also read your response. What do you have to say about what the ladies have been saying because you've been listening, judging from what you've been tweeting?
I don't know. I'm just a bit scared as a student, you know, on campus. Let's not talk about me as a leader, but as an ordinary student on campus. I mean...
What are you scared of?
What article is going to be written about me next? What exactly does Vuvuzela focus on as a campus newspaper?
Okay.
Is it about taking out and exposing students and being sensationalist and insensitive and highly ignorant of the reality that the alleged thief happens to be a student? Or is it about, you know, reporting on issues that can further transform the institution? I'm really confused. What is Vuvuzela's role on campus?
So you want Vuvuzela to report on issues that would do what?
I find highly irrelevant to our well-being as students and to the, I don't know, intellectual growth and awareness of campus issues of students, like critical campus issues on students. I don't think this matter is of relevance to anyone on our campus, in all honesty.
So the fact that somebody lied about their surname in order to, Sisulu.
I mean, what?
If you say you're a Sisulu anywhere in the world, if you say you're a Mandela anywhere in the world, then people look at you differently.
Exactly.
Is that not critical to you as a student leader?
I still feel that the article, or as SASCO, we feel that the article is extremely sensationalist and insensitive. And I just feel that the issue could have resolved in a better way. And especially after Mcebo had asked and pledged with the journalists not to go forth with the article, I mean, is there no breach of agreement? As I don't do journalism, but I'm sure there's some.
Can I just clarify?
You know, consensus that you need to find from the person you're reporting on in order to report the story in which you're reporting. I don't know. Can I be clarified on that?
Okay, let's give the ladies from Vuvuzela a chance to make a couple of things clear to you. We'll start with you.
Okay, I hear Ms. Nompendulo.
Yeah.
Is it? And she said, was there no breach? There could have only been a breach if we had agreed that this interview is off the record. I gave Mcebo several chances to speak off the record on information I would not use, for me to contextualize it, for me to understand why he didn't want to talk about it, or what his hesitation or his apprehensive, what he was apprehensive about. And he did not take those opportunities on several occasions. So there was no breach of contract or any breach of confidence, because there was no agreement that was established in the first place. He had several opportunities. And when you ask about relevance, he is a student leader. He is president of the House Com. People reasonably rely on the things that he says. If you know Mcebo, you know that on many occasions you will have several students around him listening to what he's saying, absorbing what he's taking in. And maybe some of that is because he's Mcebo Sisulu.
He's a charismatic
or maybe
character.
some of that is because he's really brilliant and he's charismatic. We don't take that away from him. But there was a tweet yesterday that said, if I had known this truth about Mcebo, this could have influenced how I voted for my House Com.
Exactly.
That is the relevance. That is the public interest. And we cannot deny that. And our job is not, to say things that are always politically correct or that are always appealing. This was a story that needed to be told. If not us, maybe he was going to continue trailblazing on that surname. And then what if later, when he's bigger and he's more relevant?
Exactly. It's important for you to understand that there's this story. I don't think it's got no ounce of sensationalism, because sensationalism is making things dramatic that don't need, that. We based everything that was written there on fact, things that he admitted to, things that sources willingly told us. So for people to come out and say we're sensationalist, we are insensitive, is not true. Truth telling has got nothing to do with insensitive.
Okay, let's give Pendulo a chance to ask a question. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let's go to the issues of his academic record and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
There are so many students, for example, who have failed in the institution. And they've been excluded and so forth. And there've been leaders who, they have spent a year being excluded or have failed a course or so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Are they, what, as a student leader now, I'm expected to have a super academic record in order for me to be a leader.
No, about that. Please understand that
academically, to which parameters you guys had to. I personally feel like you went out of your way to find out every single bit of information that can discredit this man.
Absolutely not. There is nothing.
He is a student of the university as well. I don't know. And it's exam time. The timing of your report as well. It's in the crux of, someone's critical times of their academic career, and you want to be exposing them to this extent. I don't know. As a student, I'm scared now. There could be personal things that I'm up to in my personal space, and will they be exposed, and will I then be discredited as a leader because of them?
Okay,
that have got nothing to do with my leadership ability and nothing to do with capability to lead students, nothing to do with my capability to represent students and transform the institution of which I belong to. I need to understand, how this at all is beneficial to the institution in that regard, and beneficial to the person.
Did you guys get all of that?
We got the gist of it, the crux of it.
The crux of it.
And
can you make it clear?
Firstly, we did not go out of our way. We did not go out of our way to sabotage him, as I feel you are implying. Everything that we wrote is facts that were supplied and willingly given by Mcebo Sisulu, Freedom Dlamini. And we asked him, when I was writing the article, what are you studying? He said, I'm doing an honors in mathematical statistics concurrently with the third year in politics. And on a public domain Facebook, he says that he has 2 prior degrees, which is nuclear physics
and
actual
actual
science.
science.
How is that going out of our way? Because if I did not go out of my way, then I would not be doing my job. If I was not verifying the things that he is telling me, then that would be flawed and shoddy journalism, and I'd be further persecuted for that. And so I don't know, it's like trying to find the better between two evils, but there are no two evils, because we were verifying the things that he was telling us. And with reference to the timing, this started on the 7th of May, which was the elections, you know, and from that day on, we have spoken, we have had interviews, we have built up, and we have had layers of editing and sub-editing and verification. It culminated on Wednesday. And as I said before, truth was truth yesterday, today, and it will be truth tomorrow.
But in conclusion, I just want to say that, you know, SASCO calls for Vuvuzela to retract the article and apologize publicly.
What are we apologizing for?
Dignity of our fellow student leader activists, and secondly, in the same breath, apologize for undermining the entire Wits community by, you know, prioritizing gossip over exam-related substance. And lastly, in adding meaning to this apology, publish from now until the end of the exam-related information, you know, i.e. external operation hours of buses, libraries, studying tips, healthy exam diet, FRCS assistance. There are many other things that Vuvuzela could be prioritizing during this time. Whether or not he does agree with us, and, you know, but as SASCO versus our stance, we're saying that students must always come first, and if you touch one student, you touch all of us.
And I can appreciate
if there must be a greater platform to further discuss this issue, then that should be done. But it shouldn't be an issue that, you know, is treated lightly or is even prioritized over greater issues of our institution. There are serious issues happening on campus. There are the violation of our workers by Royal Mnandi and other companies that are out, or services that are outsourced on campus. There are issues of buses.
We write about these things all the time.
There are issues of us wanting buses to breathe. There are issues of students being sexually harassed.
With respect, I need to.
Their assessments are being properly marked. There are many issues on our campus that we could be focusing on. And it's leaders like Mcebo who have ensured that students are represented on this campus, and that we further ensure that the transformation of our campus into a space that is ideal for us African students continues. So, you know, as SASCO, that's what we're saying, and that's what I want to end off this interview with, if you'll allow me. As a student, who's a student leader as well, I'd like to, as we say as comrades, chant and pass. So,
all right, Nompendulo. I get what you say. Okay, you want to end it there. Can I just ask you one simple question regarding all of this? Is Mcebo's surname really Sisulu or not?
Come on, you can go ask him.
No, I'm asking you.
You were defending him.
Come on. You worked with him as a student leader for quite some time. So I want to know from you. Because now I want to know if these ladies are lying or what.
No, listen. I think if Vuvuzela really thinks that this issue is so important, if Vuvuzela really believes that this issue is so important, then you must go and get blood tests, and you must go.
I'm gonna need to stop her there, because Wits Vuvuzela writes about a lot of issues that affect students.
Whether he was Sisulu at Dlamini.
Okay, who do you know him as? Who do you know him as? You know him as Mcebo. Mcebo who? Say name.
She's not going to be honest, is she?
Give me an honest answer. You know him as Mcebo who? Nompendulo.
Thank you very much for the call.
Alrighty.
I think that's
clearly she's not willing to tell me who.
I think she's misrepresenting the paper hugely by saying the things she said. All the things that she's listed, Vuvuzela has written about extensively, you know. And students don't always comment on the stories that we write that they say affect them, you know. And when we do write something that is of public interest, still students are up in arms and they're saying we're sensationalist and we gossiping. Nothing here is without fact.
And I think it
undermines our integrity as journalists to say that we are writing gossip material.
And I think it's important to note that in Nompendulo's commentary, she did not dispute the facts.
Exactly.
She was not saying that we are lying.
To tell me if you
she
guys
did
are
not
lying or
say
not.
that our argument is baseless. She did not dispute the facts. So as I said in the beginning, once we can equate the emotions out of this, and we look at the credibility of the article and the verification of the article, then I mean, what really are we disputing? Are we being apologetic that he's lying? Are we being apologetic about his misrepresentation? What exactly are we disputing once we equate the emotion out of this?
Yeah, as journalists, our job is to get the truth out there and let the public decide for themselves how they will react to that truth. Our job is not to make sure that he'll be psychologically okay, that he won't be committing suicide. Our job, it's not for us to kind of deal with the aftermath, and
it's not
people kind of...
philanthropy.
Exactly. This is journalism. It's not our job to mix our job with taking care of the subjects that we write about. And people need to understand that before they go and write the crude things that they write about, student journalists who are establishing their careers. Some of the comments made by the EFF,
We'll get into that after this.
Okay.
What's in the name, man? It's been on the Samsung Left Club. I still want to get your comments. I'll be giving you ladies some of the comments that are coming through on Twitter as well as Facebook. Yeah, people are really not happy. Some agree with you, some really don't agree with you, but we'll get into that. Yeah. Tweet me at VOWFM Voice of Vets, VOWFM Voice of Vets in brackets on Facebook. What's in a name? This guy who claims to be a Sisulu article comes out on Wits Vuvuzela. Sasko not happy about it, but the critical thing is they're not willing to say whether he's lying or not. Because you ladies are standing by your word that this guy is lying by his surname. These guys from Sasko, they're not willing to say whether these ladies are lying or not. Is Mcebo Sisulu a dark horse? That's what we're trying to find out. Wits Vuvuzela say he's lying about being a Sisulu. Sasko comes out and say Wits Vuvuzela are out to get Mcebo as a student leader. Now, ladies, a quick yes or no. Are you guys mandated to go after comrades or anything like that?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, Vetis also want to get involved. We've got Umbali all the way from Junction, and she'd like to ask the ladies a question. Mbali, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, and yourself?
I'm well. I got a question.
Okay.
Just to answer the question that you asked Unompendulo earlier on.
What was that
about
question?
Whether or not Mcebo is a Sisulu or not.
Okay.
Well, I've known Mcebo for quite a while. We've
How
worked
long is
together,
quite a while?
Actually, on Housecom last year. And I
So
will
you've known him
confirm
for a year?
that I've seen his birth certificate. He's from Swaziland, and they have like joint birth certificates that names the mom and the dad.
Okay.
And I will confirm that he is a Sisulu.
So he's from Swaziland, a Sisulu from Swaziland. Is that what you're
His
telling
mom is from Swaziland.
His
so
father?
He's got a dual citizenship.
us? So does the certificate, birth certificate show the names?
No, it does. It shows his mom's
What's the
name and it
mom's
shows
name?
his dad's name. And the dad is listed as Usolake Sisulu.
The mother?
The mom, I forgot her name, but she's a Dlamini.
Okay, ladies.
Okay, that's very interesting considering the sources that we spoke to were extremely close to the family and they verified that he was not indeed part of the family. And I also think in as much as you know him and as much as you may trust him as a leader and as a friend, you need to understand that people fake documents all the time. You just need to be a little bit more critical.
Okay, let's not all talk at the same time. Let's give each other a chance.
You need to be a little bit more critical about what people say
I think
to you.
You guys need to be more critical.
Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Can you, Mbali? Mbali, do you still have that thing with you?
Would you be able to send a copy through?
No, not even send it through. If you come with it to Wits Vuvuzela and show it to the ladies and it is verified to me.
I get it.
No, I mean, this is a big thing.
It's quite important to this issue, actually.
Bali, you have expressed a lot of confidence in the fact that he is a Sisulu. And there really is... I can't figure out why he would lie.
She hung up, didn't she?
Okay, Mbali hung up. But guys, let's say
I can't figure out why he would lie.
For argument's sake, if this guy truly had a birth certificate that says Zwelakim Sisulu and whoever Dlamini, and they bring it to you guys, and it's not fake.
We would
because
retract.
I think
would you retract?
It's very important.
Would you even print an apology to the guy?
Should it be important? I'm sorry, Rob, to interject. But I think it's very important to say that there was a time in this whole investigation where we were convinced that, okay, no, he really probably is a love child, and this is how the facts of his life stand. And we decided that, you know what, we're not going to go ahead with the story because then it would be baseless, as I said. We'd be tarnishing a name that really does not need to be tarnished. We'd be defaming, a person who really does not need it. So we're willing to drop the story until he asked for an interview on the record where he said that.
Okay, let's hear from David. David also has something to add. Yo, David.
Hello.
Yeah. Do you want a question, comment on this?
Yes, how are you, man?
All good, bro.
Hello.
Yeah, David.
How are you, man?
I'm okay, bro.
I would like to just comment on the
Madam.
SASCO statement that they released
Yeah.
pertaining to the issue of Mcebo Sisulu.
Yeah, go ahead.
Based on the story that I've read from Vuvuzela, I don't think that the statement hold water. I mean,
whose statements hold water?
The women have done an interview with the guy, admitted that he's not a Sisulu.
Yeah.
And I don't know why would someone come out of the blue and defend someone who has admitted that he's not a Sisulu.
Yeah.
That thing is, it does not hold water. It's pure nonsense to come out of the blue, defend someone who's admitting that he is Dlamini. He stated that he uses the Zulu name as a stage name.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And I think what callers like Mbali need to remember is that what
Mbali needs to remember is that this is not a personal vendetta, because as I've seen on social networks,
it
people
seems like
are
Vuvuzela is something against comrades.
Exactly.
That's why I had to ask.
They're coming after us like, I know Mcebo in a personal
way.
capacity, and he hurt me,
Right.
and I'm all up in my feelings, and I want to get back at him.
Now talking
And
about
that is
hurting,
not that.
you don't know him that well.
I don't know him that
Do you know
well.
him like that?
I don't know him like
Okay.
that.
We just want to get it out there,
It's very important to say I do not know him in any
personal way,
friendship or intimate capacity at all. This was purely from an objective point of view, and I was, just emanating the news that I knew.
Exactly.
And the facts that I had verified.
Right. And again, what callers like Mbali need to remember is that...
Okay, let's not go at Mbali alone.
No. Just, people like her that are going to come say... Because a lot of people are going to verify his claims. We spoke to him, and we gave him various platforms to show us this birth certificate that they say exists. So
did he tell you about the birth certificate?
He never spoke about it. The thing is,
it up.
We gave him multiple opportunities to come forward and prove the claims that he was making, because he knew that we were very skeptical about his identity. Never did he do that until the last interview we had, where he openly admitted in a recorded interview that his name was Mcebo Freedom Dlamini.
Still tuned into the Samsung Lift Club. We're talking about what's in a name. Mcebo, Sisulu, Dlamini. I don't know. You make up your mind from what you heard from the ladies, what you heard from the SASCO representatives, as well as Mbali, who claims to have seen the birth certificate. If she brings it, you guys have to apologize to the poor guy, yeah?
We will apologize, but then it will also bring into question why he would then admit on the record that...
More vetsies want to comment on this one. Yo. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah.
Sure, my man. It's Vuyani Pambo from the EFM.
Hola, Vuyani.
I think more than sort of talking about the issue of whether or not he's lying.
Yeah.
I think that's not the issue here.
What is the issue?
What needs to be contextualized is that we're in exams, and perhaps this issue.
What is the issue?
Sorry.
What is the issue?
I'm saying considering where we are right now in terms of exams and all of that.
Yeah.
I think we need to consider that the student is in a critical position.
Okay.
Where he's preparing for exams.
Yeah.
And I think whether or not this is true, I don't think that is what, as EFF, are contesting. What we're contesting is the timing of the publication.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right? We're not going to, this is not our project.
Yeah.
Not a project to say whether or not he is Sisulu. What we're questioning is the timing that which the Wits Vuvuzela has taken to publish this article.
Yeah.
Now, is it not possible that they would have published this just after exams or when we come back, right?
Yeah.
And this is what raises questions. I'm not going to stand here and defend Mcebo's name or whether or not no, that's not our project as EFF. We're saying you need to be sensitive, and as journalists, and in future, we ask that they be sensitive and exercise that critical sort of understanding of where students are. I don't think it makes sense, and I don't think they can defend it. I don't think they can defend it in any reasonable way. If they can say to us why they published at this time.
Okay, let's give them a chance to tell us why. Let's give them a chance to tell us why.
from my
Okay,
point
please
of
tell us
view,
why it
there
was published now.
Right. There was no time frame set to publish this at a certain stage.
Yeah.
You know, when a story is going to happen, it's going to happen. Whether he's in the best place in his life or the worst, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Another thing that he should remember when he's asking questions like this is that Thabile explained from, I don't know if he was listening, but she explained from the beginning that the story started during election time and it was a progression. Certain things did not gel. Naturally, as a journalist, you're going to go forth and kind of investigate the things that don't gel, ask questions, you know.
And, you know, it's not my intention to be too philosophical, but I mean, the truth is the truth yesterday. The truth is the truth today, as it will be tomorrow. So I think it's completely inconsequential when the story came out. And as I keep saying that, there could be a time in his life where he could have left Wits and become better and became someone, and he would still be trailblazing on this name. Would it have been convenient then?
Exactly. And another thing is that Mcebo is a public leader. He is head of House Com. Public figures, you know, whether in community bodies or, you know, national bodies, they've opened themselves up to scrutiny. It comes with the job. So he can't say this wasn't a good time. It's never a good time for a politician.
Let's see if Sandile agrees with that. Sandile.
Yeah, what's up, man?
All good, bro. Comment, question?
Yeah, just to add on to what the guy said previously.
Yeah.
The timing, guys. The timing was horrible.
Okay, Sandile, I get you guys are talking about timing. When would it be convenient to get the truth?
Any other time, because I mean, as much as he is a leader, like the breach of a private life of a student, a Wits student, who is studying here.
But if this was published at a later stage, they would still have breached his privacy and all of that.
Yeah, I get that, but I mean, exam time, guys.
So you're more concerned about exam time than getting the truth about him?
This is not private. The fact that he puts his name up on Facebook and he talks, he introduces himself as a Sisulu.
He does signs as
exactly.
Sisulu.
This is not private.
His email is mcebo.sisulu. It's not private.
It's not private.
It's not
private.
Putting all of this on a school magazine and online for everyone to read. What does Vuvuzela aim to achieve with this?
What were you guys aiming to achieve with this article? That's a question
the whole
from
point of the whole thing. Like,
it's a misrepresentation.
All right, thanks, Lord.
There's misrepresentation, you know, and it's in the school body's interest to know about the people that they elect into power.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He is a trusted person on campus. A lot of people, I don't want to say love, but they listen to him. You know, Tabi was talking earlier. He's an orator. He's very charismatic. And if you are going to trust someone like that to lead you, you know, someone who's not even leading himself, he's not even leading an honest life, how can you then come back and defend him?
And does that not constitute public interest?
Exactly.
Do you not feel betrayed when someone says...
Does this take away from his leadership skills? Because I live in Junction and I know what he does for Junction.
I think it takes away completely.
Him saying, going around and calling himself a Sisulu?
His character is wrong.
Sandy, let us give someone else a chance. Now, while the ladies answer your question, listen through the radio.
I think one's character is paramount to their leadership.
Yeah.
And if Mcebo's character is one which is filled with creating a facade, then he's not fit to lead. I don't care. I shouldn't.
I truly believe that a leader should be authentic. You need to be authentic with the things that you say. You need to be authentic with who you are. There has to be consistency and a direct correlation between the things that you say and who you say you are. Because if someone lies about who they are, does that not bring into disrepute and a level of distrust to everything that they've been saying to you?
Exactly.
You know? So I really feel like for a lot of people who are not very obsessed with the timing, they do feel a sense of betrayal that I really believe this person is what he said he is. And now that he's not, they're questioning a lot about him.
Exactly. You know?
A lot of Wits are feeling strongly about this. They love him as a leader. They're questioning the timing of this. Are Wits Vuvuzela journalists out to get Mcebo? Maybe Rof and Thabile have something to tell us about Mcebo. I don't know. These two ladies chose a rather interesting adventure going after Mcebo Sisulu, Mcebo Dlamini. Only these ladies and him know the real truth behind that. Now, checking out some of your comments on Twitter and Facebook, and then we wrap this up with the ladies from Vuvuzela. A guy by the name of #BringBackOurGirls on Twitter @Answeri BII. He says, Rofhiwa, worry, you don't care. So basically meaning Rofhiwa, so you say you don't care. You keep making matters worse. You better apologize to @Sasko_vets.
I need to give a bit of context. What I meant to say was, firstly, I ended my sentence mid-drift because I thought I was getting too emotional. As a journalist, one must try to keep as balanced and fair as possible when giving commentary. Another thing, what I meant to say was that in that sentence, it's irrelevant the time of the release of the story. You know, the time is irrelevant, and that is what I was alluding to. I thought that, you know, before one gets too emotional, one must just kind of shut down. Exactly. So he took my statement out of context, and now that he understands it, I hope that he can put it.
This is what you said. One of the guys from Sasko tweeted it. He says, so Vets Vuvuzela says, I quote, our job is not to ensure he doesn't commit suicide. We don't care about the well-being of students. That's what he says. You said.
Oh, I did not say that. And I am sure, I do not remember right now, but I know that Vuvuzela has podcasts, and we can gladly play that, because I know for a fact I did not say that.
Because I think what we said is that our job is not philanthropy, because a lot of people are saying that if you can put this story out there, what are you doing about the fact that he could possibly be psychologically ill or something is terribly wrong with him? And I'm saying that perhaps our form of philanthropy is telling the truth, and how it is then taken by the audience and received, and whoever does whatever about it, that is out of our hands.
Right. Okay.
Because I think a lot of people are thinking that we don't care about students. But perhaps it's
because you care about students?
We care enough
to
give them authentic news. We care enough to tell them the truth. I don't know, is oblivion bliss right now, where we can just be okay with not knowing the truth about
people they're allowed to lead them.
Our faith in.
Exactly.
Is that a better, more comfortable truth? Oblivion.
Vets Vuvuzela say they care about you and I don't know. What do you think? Tweet them @Vets Vuvuzela. Make them know what you feel about that story, man. Sandile on Twitter @Sandile says, how do they justify putting his academic record on blast? Now, talking about the academic records, I also have a question on this. I want to know, did he really say that he was headhunted to study a secret degree by Tux?
Yes. He, in an interview we had with him, he explained to us his various degrees. And that one of them from the University of Pretoria was one where you had to go for a special interview, and it's not available in the prospectus. You know, only a select few get chosen to do this degree.
He
and
said
that
he was registering for VSc, and they pulled him aside and they had like a mini interview with him to assess that he was can you therefore do a nuclear physics degree, because they're clearly looking for a certain caliber of people.
Right.
So when we asked about the nuclear physics degree, he did say that no, it's not something that is openly available on the prospectus, based on the rigorous process that they use to determine who they take and refuse.
Did you guys do any research to ensure that this degree does indeed exist, even though he doesn't?
We tried. We went onto the UP website. We followed various avenues, all of which did not prove his claim.
Okay.
And I also want to say to the person, to you and other people that say, what's the relevance? He went around saying that he was a keynote speaker for the Golden Key based on his degrees. He's misleading people, and that needed to be known. If he was lying about his various degrees and not, claiming various accolades based on that fakeness, then it wouldn't matter. But he took it too far in the sense that he went and said that he spoke at various prestigious events. I mean, if you know Golden Key, you know that it's a really prestigious organization for, the elite academic students, And he took advantage of the fact that that people look up to him. He took advantage of that in various ways. And if people don't see that people like Mcebo are out there to take advantage of them and to fool them, then I don't know. You don't know exactly.
That. Yeah.
I think what Thabile said, saying is being oblivious to these things bliss, is a good question to ask.
Because I think at the risk of deviating, but I mean, it's
Don't
the same.
deviate.
It's still in the same context.
Yeah.
But it's the same with how the ANC supports our President Jacob Zuma. No one is saying anything about.
Let's not get into that. Let's not get
But
into
no-
that.
but no one
anyway,
is saying-
no. Let's leave that one. Anyway, a lot of people are also liking what you said. Manabile David says, "Big up to Vuvuzela. The two young ladies are key reporters." More of your comments also on Twitter. Okay, the other guys are just questioning Mbali's birth certificate claim.
Right.
Yeah.
Keyez, can I just say while you
Yeah.
read, I just want for the person on Twitter who misquoted me, you know,
Yeah.
he needs to be listening to radio a little bit more, you know, he needs to listen attentively. He needs to pay attention because, I mean, people always complain that the Wits Vuvuzela is misquoting and misrepresenting people. It does not give them grounds based on their claims to do the same thing to other people. So he kind of just needs to bear that in mind.
Alrighty. One last comment from Facebook. That is Caroline Diale says, Mcebo is a leader. How can we trust that he's leading us in the right direction when he's shady about something as simple as an identity? Everybody's going on and on about the timing of this publication. Yes, it is exams, but this article was a 7th of May because he did not deal with the truth head on, but he chose to willingly beat around the bush. I'm not saying that Vuvuzela's actions are all that great, but this is more than just Mcebo. This has so much to do with trust, and his claims not only affect him, they're affecting his family. He has put his claims upon. He has genuinely opened up a can of the biggest worms about an important family in Mzansi. Ladies, thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you so much for having us.